There's no bacon in this episode. Well, there is bacon in this episode, actually. Hey, Aaron Whitlow.
There is. Is there bacon? I
There's
don't think there's
mention,
bacon.
not Kevin Bacon, but bacon in, yeah,
I'm Brandon Spivey, and welcome back to the Markout Movie Podcast as we discuss bacon.
Uh, yeah. Well, there's no Kevin Bacon, but Ed O'Neill's character, Dutch, talks about bacon um, at
He
one point.
does. Dutch,
Dutch.
his
Uh,
character. The movie is literally named Dutch, and you're talking about his character, Ed O'Neill.
yeah.
Ah,
Uh, so, before we get into it, you said you wanted to hit us with a little movie news.
yeah, we haven't done movie news in like a year. But yeah. So I guess I'll start with the lighter news. Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are reuniting. They are coming together for the Karate Kid. What would this be? Six? Karate Kid 6, since it's going to be connected now.
Is it gonna be the series or so
Uh,
actual Karate, Kid, not Cobra Kai?
no, yeah, Karate Kid. Movie, Aaron, movie. It would be six since they're connecting the remake with the original now. So,
Yeah, I guess so.
how you
But
feel about this?
I'm okay with Jackie. I love Jackie.
You're
It's
okay
just,
with Jackie.
but it's not karate, as in Jackie is martial arts, as in like kung fu, and you know, Karate Kid is karate. Unless there's like it's gonna be like a MMA type of thing where it's like mixing uh, kung fu versus karate. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I've seen that before. It's called Ip Man. The first one.
I'm excited for this because Daniel San returns to the Karate Kid film franchise. So give me more Ralph, and I'm good. I don't. I'm pro Daniel. I mean, this is all he's got, but
Yeah, yeah, that's my thing about like. Do you think that he desires at all to do something outside of the Karate Kid? Because he's known, he is going to be forever known as Danielson.
I think he
He's
used
gonna,
to want to do other things and forget about the Karate Kid, but now he's embraced it. And I mean, I'm trying to compare it to some. It'd be like, for instance, taking Stallone saying he hated playing Rocky or Rambo. He wanted to distance himself. You wouldn't do that because that's what people know you more as, and
uh,
or
I wouldn't say. I don't think that's a really good example because I think that Stallone, although he is Rocky, he's able to, you know,
okay. Emilio
like,
Estevez, Mighty Ducks, or Young Guns.
but
Other than that,
he's another one. Yes, we learn from that, but he's another one where I would love to see him in something else. You
well,
know,
I mean, I
but
mean,
I would say like Macaulay Culkin maybe.
yeah, he's
Uh,
Home Alone, and that's pretty much it.
yeah, that's what we, and then
I
I
would
was
say
gonna,
Ralph is bigger than Macaulay, though.
yeah, no, well, Macaulay was bigger at one point, but who is overall?
Who's
Who's bigger overall? Who left a more lasting legacy? I would argue Macaulay. Uh,
really?
yeah, because Macaulay Culkin, man,
I gotta
although,
say Ralph. He had the Outsiders. He had My Cousin Vinny, plus the Karate Kid
yeah,
universe.
but you don't remember my cousin Vinny because of Ralph. You remember him because
Well, I
you
mean, it's
remember,
Joe Pesci, of course, Marissa Tomei.
yeah. And the judge, Ute. What do you mean Ute? The two what? Ute? I forget his name. Rest in peace. Um, what's the name? How's our head? Is it Ed something? What's the name?
Which one? The Judge?
Well, Judge
Um,
Sherman Munster.
yeah, Judd from Pet Cemetery. I can't think of his name.
But
It's
no, but your point, I do. I will say that to your point, uh, Ralph Macchio is gonna be forever known as Danielson. I don't think, but I think that I would be okay with seeing him pop up in something else. But you will always think Danielson. You'll
Yeah,
never, and which is okay. It's like for me, Sean Astin, he's always gonna be Mikey
from
from
Goonies.
Goonies.
Yeah,
Like, even though yes, he's been in other things and he's got more of a legacy and other stuff, he's gonna be Mikey from Goonies. As a matter of fact, Data's gonna be Data always. I don't care what he's in, he's Data. So
yeah. I see your point. I do. With as far as Sean goes, though, for me it's always Rudy,
mhm.
but I think more people today it's Lord of the Rings. But you know,
Or his Bill, I think, or Bob or something like that.
in Stranger Things,
Yeah,
yeah. But I'm excited for Ralph coming, although he is in Cobra Kai.
you're excited for him to embrace the Karate Kid
Yeah,
on a bigger screen or in a
yeah. I
theatrical.
mean, I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be connected to Cobra Kai as well. Because if
You
it
got to,
is,
you got to. Then that'd be great. I'm down for it if it's the case, because that means that we could potentially see a Jackie come into that show somewhere. I'm still. I know people hate it. I'm still waiting for Hillary Swank. It has to be connected. It has to be connected.
uh,
I, I,
this is
I
really the next season's the last season. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon.
um
Um,
the
but they
next
are
minute,
going to do spin-offs of the show too. So I mean,
and
it's
I would say that too. With that being said, what you just said, because I don't know his name, but the kid that plays the main uh, kid, the what I would say one of the main kids, the Hispanic kid.
uh,
Uh, like he, I think he did an excellent job in the Blue Beetle.
yes,
Maybe it didn't. I don't know if they're gonna keep him, if James
they
Gunn's
are
gonna do.
they are
But
keeping him.
I can see him catapulting into a different uh, area with that, and eventually heading to Lee Cobra Kai just to pursue more DC stuff. Because I think he did a great. I thought he did a really great job in that
Yeah, I
movie.
think
I really
he's
enjoyed
honestly the most talented person that's working on that show. And
it.
I'm including William and Ralph. I mean, I think that kid is just very talented. He can really act. He's been doing it since he was a little kid on the family show with Coach. What's his name? I can't think of his name.
I
From
have no idea.
Poltergeist, Craig T. Nelson. They did
Okay,
a family show, and he was like a kid that got adopted or something. He's been working since he was like 4. So I really think he's the most talented. But moving on from this, it's a little bit sad news because we're both major horror fans, and with Scream 7, um, it was the girl that played Sam Carpenter. I don't know her name, Melissa, whatever, got fired from
okay.
Scream 7, but now it's Jenna Ortega's also left. So, what is your thoughts on Scream 7 losing its 2 leads? And where does this do you have hope that there will be a Scream 7?
Melissa Barrera. I don't know if I said her name right. And then Jenna Ortega. Uh, with Melissa leaving, that was bad because I liked her as the legacy of Loomis. And I was
Yeah.
hoping that she would become a ghost, literally become a ghost face.
Yeah.
And Jenna Ortega, I knew that she was gonna eventually leave because she has blown up. She's big,
Mhm.
and so I don't. It'll be way too expensive to keep her.
Yeah.
But was her. So for me, this is her way of saying, okay, maybe I can go ahead, go out. I don't see where they can go because honestly, to be honest, and I ain't trying to be funny or anything, but I don't think Mindy and Chad Meeks Martin, aka Jasmine Brown and Mason Gooding, have enough charisma to carry this franchise at all.
Oh,
I don't.
I wouldn't
Uh,
disagree.
yeah,
I wouldn't.
I would say that they would literally have to go to the chopping block and do something brand new, and maybe let it be over with the legacies and just do something different. But nobody will want that because
No.
I would even be okay with them picking up with but people want that yeah. I would say picking up with Matthew Lillard uh uh being the Ghostface, but knowing that he's the Ghostface and seeing him do it, like we know who it is. It's not a big mystery who's the and it's like a horror villain that we root for,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
what it would
what the
turn
franchise
into.
is. That's what I would prefer. And
Yeah,
then you can even have Western come back. Uh, you can even have Hayden Panettiere come back and be like the one chasing Matthew Lillard. Like it could be
well,
like a cat and mouse type of thing.
the problem there though, she has no connection to his
Yeah,
character. You literally got to bring Sydney back to bring
it has
Stu
to
back.
be. It
I
has to
mean,
be. Yeah, you're right.
and I just don't. I think they've shot themselves in the foot, losing their two leads and really upsetting Nev Campbell with Scream Six. That's it. I don't know where you can go realistically, creatively, because if Nev Campbell declines to come back, there, there is no Scream Seven,
Yeah, you can't. You gotta. It's literally just starting
and I
all over
feel
again.
that's probably what's going to happen. She's going to decline. You got no movie now. Your two leads are gone.
Yeah. It,
Your original final girls are going to refuse to
yeah.
come back. I mean,
I will say this. I don't condone at all her statements. I don't really know her statements, but if it truly was anti-Semitic, it's not. It's not okay. But also, I will say that I think that, but then also I would say this: people should still also have freedom of speech to kind
yeah,
of say what they how they feel and not be on eggshells. But also they need to be have the maturity and the know it all, to know not to put your foot in your mouth. But there's got to be that point,
yeah,
But I'm for freedom of speech, but also don't be an idiot.
yeah. I mean, I don't think she should have been fired for her opinions, but she shouldn't have said what she said either. So I agree with you on that. I mean, but maybe you said yesterday that maybe she wanted out. Maybe that's why she made the statements to begin with. I mean,
Yeah,
I
and
would
we
think
don't know
she would
if it
want
was.
out because this is what she's really known for.
Yeah, and I don't know. You never know if it was mental
Yeah,
health
and
is
she's playing a
going through.
character that's got mental health problems. I mean, you know, I don't
But
know.
I
If
don't see
I
this
was,
thing going. Yeah, I don't.
but if I was the studio, I would try to get her back. I would wait till Jenna Ortega can film because they said it has something to do with Wednesday conflict of scheduling. So if that's true, then wait till after she's finished with Wednesday because she is literally your biggest star. She's your biggest draw right now. She may not be the main character, but she is the biggest draw. So in my opinion, you gotta have these two if you're continuing this storyline.
Even if it's just a kill them off, like honestly, in the sense of like you got to conclude. I'm okay with them concluding the story to move on to another story, and
Yeah,
that story will have to be. I'm, the only way that you can get around Nev is if you brought them back, killed them, and it beat Matthew Lillard, beat Stumacher, and he then moves on. I don't know, but then you got to have somebody that wants to chase them and wants to, you know,
yeah.
find him. Maybe that's where maybe that's where the Meek kids come in, but they they're not strong enough to
No,
carry it.
neither one of them are.
Yeah,
They're
unfortunately.
not.
I
They're
know.
not Randy at all. I mean, I hate to say it, but they just don't. They don't have that film presence that Jamie Kennedy had.
And I would say this about, and honestly, I say this about Cuba's son. I think that he reminds me of Cuba in a sense of his that dopiness. You know what I'm saying? He like Cuba was really good at playing that silly character at times.
Yeah,
He's never no one that you really truly take serious. Even as OJ, I didn't take him. I didn't buy him as OJ at all. And not once that I'd be like, oh well, yeah, he's OJ Simpson. I didn't do that,
you
because
didn't.
he just no, I didn't.
Hmm.
I thought it was miscasting for OJ,
I thought he was
honestly.
great. I disagree with that though. You can't take him serious. I think Radio is a prime example of you taking Cuba serious. Men of Honor is another one. Pearl Harbor, even his little role in that.
Yeah,
I get
but
what you're saying.
he, yeah,
I think
well,
he can do it all though.
yeah, I think that he wants to be that Denzel. He wanted to be that type of guy, but I think that he fell short though when it came to um, but maybe it's the Hollywood system too. Maybe because he started doing silly stuff like
Yeah,
the Love Boat thing
and Snow
or
Dogs.
Snow Dogs, and then the Rat Race. He started doing like stuff that was like more comedic and Daddy Day Camp 2 or whatever. He started doing like stuff that was like,
Yeah, they ruined his career. They
yeah,
really
yeah.
did.
And he tried to bring it back. Like he played some serial killers, some crazy folks, some mean people in some things. But it's hard for me to buy him as those things. It's like the guy that plays in Jamie Foxx show that played Braxton. He plays such Braxton so, but in his case he played Braxton so well that it's hard for me to buy him as a gangster in anything because he played Braxton so well.
Look at
But
you, Aaron. You typecasting people.
he did a good job, man. It's his fault. He shouldn't have did so well.
Should
But then on the same hand, you look at somebody like a Forrest Whitaker who has played not so much comedic characters at all, but he's an actor I take serious in whatever role he's in.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Forrest Whitaker. He can do comedy. I've seen him. He doesn't do like in anything I've seen him in. It's not been straight up comedy, but he's got a sense of humor with his characters.
Mm-hmm.
But he is mainly a serious actor, and he comes from the same cloth as someone like Denzel. I mean, that time period. I mean, he's really good. I mean, so
Underrated, really, very underrated.
yeah, he really is. As I do agree with you on Cuba though, that he wanted to be the next Denzel, and I thought he was on his way until he started doing those really goofy comedies he was doing, because that
Mm.
was very unlike Denzel. If that's how you pattern yourself after, you
He
got to
started
stick
great.
with what you got to stick
Yeah.
with the dramas.
He started great with like with John Singleton and in
Yeah,
Boys in the Hood. He started off on the right slope, and then you have uh what we reviewed Judgment Night. He
yeah.
was really great in that. He was a standout. Him and Emilio were great. Not as good as we talked about that. Not as good as the villain, Dennis Leary. He is excellent.
Oh
But
yeah.
but and that's another career that should have did more. But I think with Cuba, he started like when you play somebody like radio, when you play radio,
Yeah.
it's hard for Hollywood to take you serious again in another role. And it's because you did a good job, but when you play a role like that, it's hard for them to take you serious. You look at Michael Clark Duncan with John Coffey. He played that role so well that it's hard to bounce back to be considered serious
I
again.
actually agree with you because Sean Penn did the same thing. I Am Sam,
Yeah.
and his career's not really been the same since that era. I mean, he doesn't do much today, and he was considered one of the best. And when he
He
was
did
coming up,
Alice Milk, another
yeah,
one that was like where he was like a gay guy, and then
yeah,
the one that I really liked was Mystic River, which I've seen him as a serious actor in that.
yeah.
Um, which I was like, oh man, he's kind of scary. That's what I thought. Like, and became scary. It's such a great movie because it becomes scary, and you start to realize who you're dealing with. You know?
Yeah, you
So,
see why he gave up that life. You took that away from him. Now he becomes the king again.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie though. I think that's probably my favorite Clint Eastwood directed film. It
I
was
didn't know he
beautiful.
directed it.
Yeah,
Excellent, excellent.
yeah.
But yeah, so man, in closing, as far as Scream, I don't know where they're gonna go with the franchise. I think that they it's gonna be interesting to see, but it's at this point, if you don't get Jenna back, clearly you're not gonna get that other lady back. And if you don't get Nev back, nobody cares if you get Courtney back. Honestly, that's where I feel. No, like at this point, I thought she should have died the last
She
one.
should have
But at this point, I there's no way, there's nowhere for it to go other than
another
the only
reboot.
thing to save it is if Matthew Lillard comes back, and it will be interesting to see what you do with that. But we want to see Matthew maybe in Greensboro or Woodsboro rather. We want to see him interact with Courtney. We want to see him interact with uh, uh, Nev. We just want to see that. And if you
Yeah.
don't, or in this case, Loomis's kid. But if you don't see that, then what's the point?
I mean, they may recast, but I think that's a disaster waiting to happen if they go that route. But
Recasting never helps to me. Recasting never, unless someone dies and you have to recast. That makes sense. But it's like it's vague. Very rarely does that help. But like I can't think of one instance where I'm like, the only one that I say that was good is Brody. It's probably the best recasting and it worked. It like recasting Don Cheadle versus Terrence Howard the third. It worked. I wouldn't even say it worked with Mark Ruffalo because I think Edward Norton. It was Edward Norton
yeah,
was a better Banner than
I mean, I agree.
yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I haven't really cared much for the Hulk lately, and he's my favorite. But but yeah, I don't know where they go with Scream, but it's sad. It's literally the biggest horror franchise right now, and it feels like it's in shambles.
Mm-hmm. Uh, well, it was good on the movie news. It's pretty. I like that. We hadn't done that so long. Um, Now we're on to our interview, our review. Um, Dutch came out in 1991, PG-13. Its runtime is an hour and 47 minutes. To get to know his girlfriend's son, a working class good guy volunteers to pick him up from his prep school, only to learn that he isn't the nicest young man. Uh, uh, Starring, I'm just gonna name the main dealers in this movie. Ed O'Neill is Dutch Dooley. Ethan Embry, very young Ethan Embry, as Doyle Standish. Joe Beth Williams, who we know most famously as the mother in Poltergeist, which it's funny because I think in my mind I always thought it was Sigourney Weaver in that. And then when I seen this, I'm like, oh, it's her. I forgot it was her. Joe Beth Williams. It's funny because you just both mentioned their
Yeah,
co-star in the movie, Michael Craig T. Nelson.
yeah.
Uh, and then Shooter McGavin himself, Christopher McDonald, is in this movie. Is Reed Standish. Um, but in E.G. Daily is she's a hooker with not a hard to go with Haley in this movie. Did you recognize that it's E.G. Daily? You know who E.G. Daily is?
I do not.
So she's the main lady driving the car when she robs Dutch. Uh, you might know her from Pee Wee's Big Adventure. She was Dottie.
Oh yeah, yeah. She looks completely
Nickelodeon Dottie
different in this movie.
Brothers. Uh, she also, most famously, is the voice of Tommy Pickles. Um, she does the voice of Tommy Pickles. She does the voice of voices on Powerpuff Girls. Uh, she
She
does.
does look like a voice actor, though. I will say that she got that face. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's discriminating or not,
I think
but
she does Tommy, and I think she also does Chucky as well on Rugrats. But yeah,
But before we dive into it, can we
Yeah.
just give a little love to Christopher? I mean, is there anyone better at playing these sleazeball characters than him?
Mm-mm. You know what? Also, while you're talking about giving love, let me talk about this man, Christopher McDonald. He's gonna forever in my mind be Shooter Gavin.
Oh,
And
I
Shooter,
mean, yeah, I
he's
agree.
gonna be Shooter. And because he's one of my favorite
Yeah.
sleazeballs guy. Like and it's not to say he's and that just sucks. It just is a credit to how good of an actor he is. That
Mm-hmm.
he's really good at playing those like dumb, like you can't stand them type of characters. But you love them. You love when he popped up in this movie. I was like, I'm happy that he's in this movie. That's
I
what I
had
thought.
totally forgot he was in this movie.
Yep.
Completely forgot about it. But I was very happy to see him, and I was like, well, he's definitely gonna be a sleazeball. I mean, because he's
I've
got
yet
that
to see.
look, man. It's just like it looked like Shooter McGavin with a mustache. Same
Yeah,
type character. I was like, and I'm fine with it. Actually, I don't care. I'm like, yes, give me more of that, Christopher.
yeah. Come to think, thinking about it, bro. I honestly don't think I've ever seen him not play a sleazeball in anything.
Well,
Maybe he has, but I don't. I can't think of one. I
um,
think.
he wasn't a sleazeball technically in what was it? The Faculty. He played Elijah Wood's father.
Oh yeah, he was,
But he
wasn't
had kind of a tended. He kind of had that look like I could be one. But he's barely in the movie, so we didn't really get to know his character all that much. But that's basically the only time I've seen him where he didn't feel like a sleazeball.
he? Yeah,
But at the same time, you just didn't know because you didn't get to know who the character really was. But I don't know. I just love seeing him pop up though. I've never seen him play a good guy in anything. Honestly, I can't think one movie he's done. He's got that villainous type of face, I guess. And
yeah. I'm trying to look and see. Like in Flubber, I think he's a sleazeball.
oh,
Uh,
definitely yes.
American Pie Beta House. I forgot who he was
I
in
haven't
there.
seen that, so
Dirty Work. He is a sleazeball in Dirty Work. With Norm Macdonald and uh
I think that
Artie.
already. Yeah,
Artie,
I think that's a very underrated raunchy comedy.
so funny. It's one of my favorite little movies. But yeah, I've never seen him actually play anything other than a sleazeball. And it's like what I said before about being typecast. For him, I'm okay with it because when he's in the show, when he's in the movie or something like that, and he pops up. I'm like, kind of like it's like warming. You're like, oh, I'm glad to see him. You're glad to see him pop up and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but I was wondering, I was gonna say this real quick. So this movie was directed by Peter Feynman, which I don't know who that is, but written by John Hughes. It feels like a
it
I would
does
say
feel like a John Hughes film.
feel like John Hughes had more to do with directing uncredited than Peter had with. You know what I'm saying? I don't know Peter. He did Crocodile Dundee, um, Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, whatever, Don Lane Show, and Dutch. It's pretty much what he's done. Uh, and
I
his
haven't seen
producer,
Fern Gully, but I
his,
have seen
he, he,
Crocodile.
he directed Crocodile. But I would say that he got this job to direct this. Is written by John Hughes, but I think John was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be at the camera. I'm gonna be calling shots
Yeah,
because it feels like a John Hughes movie."
it does. I was thinking it watching it. Man, this feels like John Hughes. And I didn't even get to the credits. I didn't know he was actually involved. So that makes sense why it felt like him. Yeah, I definitely would agree with this, though. He Spielberged it. When I
Mm.
say he Spielberged it, we obviously
Poltergeist.
mean Poltergeist. But
Yeah.
but I do feel that way because it just seemed like that. And when I first saw this movie, I didn't really care for it, but
Hmm.
I appreciate it more now. I think I appreciate it more for Ed O'Neill. Um,
Yeah, that's the question I had for you. Because do you feel like this is where I felt watching this movie? And tell me if you agree or disagree. I was watching it and I was like, why does it feel like this should have been written for John Candy? And John passed and Ed was like, I'll do it, but maybe not. But it felt like how you feel like characters was made tailor made for someone.
yeah,
I felt like it was made for John Candy, and
I mean
but
it
John
fits.
couldn't do it probably, and maybe that's the reason why John couldn't do it. Maybe I don't know if this is true or not, but it felt like John Candy. It's like how I felt about Burbs with uh Tom Hanks' best friend, his next door neighbor. I felt like that was for John, but John couldn't do it, and so he got it, which he did good. But that's what it felt like.
And if you're
That's how I
just
felt
tuning
like.
into our show, Aaron is a massive John Candy fan, so he just wants to put him in roles he wasn't in.
I'm a huge mark for John Candy, so
You really
uh,
are. I agree with this though. Thinking about it, yeah, I was like, this does feel like a role for John Candy. But at the same time, I'm glad Ed O'Neill got it
yeah.
because, like, when he's singing in the car really badly, I felt like that's Al Bundy singing. I can't help but see Al Bundy, the facial expressions he was making. To me, that
Yeah.
was Al Bundy. But that's kind of why I'm glad he got to do this and he got to
And
do
he was
Little Giants.
and he was
Because,
he was really at the he was at the height of the Married with Children show.
yes.
He wasn't like he was coming down. Like this is when Married with Children was like red hot. It's for those that don't know, Married with Children and I would say In Living Color. Married with Children mainly is the one that put Fox on the map as the network. It was that show. And
Yeah.
then In Living Color also helped. But it was Married with Children who came in that said, we're gonna be a show, we're not gonna be the Cosby show. We wanna be the opposite of the Cosby show. And that's what they did. And it worked. So
Look at, I mean, I feel like Married with Children is a more accurate description of families back in the time that it was made than the Cosby's were. But I mean, I know that's an African American family and a white family, but still, in my household, it was more like Al and Peg.
yeah.
Mom and dad don't get along at all. That's just what I grew up with, and thankfully it changed later on. But but I grew up with that kind of dynamic. So either way, I was glad to see Ed in this movie.
Hmm.
Because I wish he would have got more opportunities. You
Yeah.
know?
Ed was Ed O'Neill. Ed O'Neill is an actor that when people think immediately, they immediately think Al Bundy.
Yeah,
He was also in Bone Collector as well. Little Giants, he showed a little bit of his humorous side. He played like a prick. Imagine if Al Bundy was successful, and this is pretty much what he was in Little Giants. But it with Ed O'Neill, I think he has so many layers to him as an actor, and like especially watching him on Modern Family, uh, it just made him uh, like he never was as Al Bundy, America's dad, but with that show he became like America's granddad. He became like that type of character. Well, that it's still rough around the edges and stuff like that, but it just I loved it, man. I love seeing Ed O'Neill and stuff. Personally, I've always been a fan of his. But I was like you. I never really liked Dutch,
yeah,
but I appreciate it now a little bit more now.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't think it's a I don't think it's a bad movie. Uh, Going back and watch, I wasn't excited to see it though. I was like,
yeah, me
yeah,
neither.
let's get through it. But I understand why you
I
picked it.
kind of
There's
wanted to.
not many Thanksgiving movies out there, really.
I
I
literally
could,
was gonna audible and be like, maybe we should do Good Burger. I don't know, but I'm glad I stuck with it. You know, because it's something that Go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue your thought.
I mean, I was just saying, there's not that many. I can literally think of really two Thanksgiving movies, and we reviewed Planes, Trains, and Automobiles like a couple years
Both
ago.
John, both John Hughes. Both John
Yeah,
Hughes.
and this, I want to say there's one more, but I can't think of the name of it. Like
Home for
mainstream. I mean, I'm sure there's
maybe.
some made-for-TV Thanksgiving films, but
I thought there's one. I don't know. I feel like there's one with a lady
is it
and
called Home for the Holidays
yeah, that one.
with a
Is that right?
turkey?
Yeah. Is it?
I haven't seen it, but
Me neither.
I was told it was horrible. But
Probably. Now, a good Thanksgiving movie is Thanksgiving. I actually enjoyed it, but okay. Um,
okay, there's a
other
new one.
than yeah,
Perhaps next year, whoever's pick it will be, will pick Thanksgiving.
maybe it'd be your pick, huh? Because has it been historically has it always been my pick on Thanksgiving?
I don't know. I don't know. I
No,
honestly, I think you picked Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So maybe I don't
well,
remember.
we can switch it up. That's fine. But
No, it's whatever. Whoever turned it is, it's just run with it.
uh,
But yeah, I will say this though. As first this movie started, I was like, yeah, this is why I don't like this movie because I hate the kid.
Ethan Embry.
But at the time I watched it, I didn't understand or I didn't fully grasp why he is the way he is. I just he reminded me of the kid of in the Keanu Reeves alien movie, The Earth Stood Still or whatever it was called.
Mhm.
He reminded me of Jaden Smith in that. Kind of really spoiled, but in this movie, I think it comes off that you understand why he is the way he is. His dad has literally nothing to do with him, and he just wants to spend time with his dad. Um,
And
and
also, his
literally,
dad kind of made him. His dad created a narrative in his head that his mother is to blame for them not being together. His mother doesn't love him. His mother is doing this, and so he's now like been indoctrinated to kind of hate his mother, and that happens with a lot of relationships where uh, kids are between parents. It could be the mother saying, "No, your dad doesn't want to spend time with you. Your dad this, your dad doesn't." And then when you get your kid, you're like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" And he's like, "Well, you don't want to spend time." And you're like, "Where are you getting that from?" Because I want to be with you, you know.
yeah,
So I figure it will hit home for you. But
I just want the record to say I said nothing. I have some issues. I'll say that, and I'll leave it at that. With getting my son more than a couple days a week, or like tomorrow. I'll leave it at that.
I want to say this real quick. One time back in the '90s, uh, I emailed. I had a website where they had celebrity emails on there,
hmm
and I literally emailed a bunch of them. Like for one, D'Lo Brown, I emailed D'Lo Brown, um, and a couple of other people. I think Percy Sledge. But one of them that I emailed is Ethan Embry, and Ethan Embry actually took time to email me back. Um, and this is this is fresh off of you know. 'Cause I told him, man, I said, man, I really liked you in uh remember the movie about like them like not the little thing you do, but it was like fresh off of
Can't
the
hardly
record,
wait.
no, or not King Hollywood, but the Empire Records or whatever that was. With the records, I think he's in that movie as well. Where they on the record shop.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, I just was like, man, I've always been a fan of yours ever since you're younger, and I love seeing you and stuff, man. Just keep, or whatever. I was a kid, teenager, but he wrote me back and said, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that, and just was like, and like had a conversation, like we emailed like maybe one or two times, but it was cool, man. That he took time out to do that. So I've always had a number of respect for him. That actually did something like that. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's a nice thing. Someone that doesn't have to respond to you, and they do.
Hmm.
You know.
But yeah, him as a kid in this movie, it's just credit to his acting. He did such a great job as
Yeah,
a spoiled, rich, snobby kid, and and I totally forgot it was Ethan Embry until like watching it again. I'm like, oh, that is Ethan Embry. But he did a good job, man. My favorite movie is Can't Hardly Wait with him. But yeah,
yeah. I think he's one of those actors that's kind of forgotten. But every time he pops up in anything I've seen, he always gives a good performance. I think the last film I saw him in was that John Cena WWE Studios film where they're all brothers reuniting. Um, I forget the name of it, but I thought he was easily the best part of that movie. But you know, he's a guy that didn't really get many opportunities,
mm-mm.
and I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I think I don't know how well this did. I don't know how well Can't Hardly Wait did. I know Sweet Home Alabama he was in. I know that did really good. So you would
Yeah,
think he would have got
he
more
didn't.
opportunities.
Oh, here's also in that little thing you do. I mean, he worked with some great people and stuff, but
Yeah,
he's never been the like other than like in the show Dragnet with him and Ed O'Neill, where they were both the leads. Um, which that was that. But
I had no
like
idea he was in that with Ed O'Neill.
yeah, he was in the reboot of Dragnet. And then he was in Vegas Vacation, which is probably the least of the vacation films
I've
for
never
me.
seen it.
Empire Records is the movie I was thinking about. But yeah, and he was in They, so he did some horror as well. And Disturbing Behavior, which I don't remember him in that movie. Um, he
He
was
had
in
to be a
Harold and
side
Kumar Goes to
character.
White Castle. I think he was like on drugs in Harold and Kumar Goes to White Castle. That's funny. But but yeah, Ethan Embry. My point is that Ethan is one of those actors that I enjoy seeing when he pops up. He's in that show on Netflix, Frankie and whatever. I don't know if the show's still going on, where it has Lily Tomlin and
Uh,
Jane Fonda. He's in that show. He's one of the sons
Martin
of
Sheen
one.
in it as well.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's in
I
the
haven't
show.
seen it, but I have seen it on Netflix. I just never watched it.
But, yeah. But anyway, uh, yeah, I thought that he was good in this movie, but honestly, Ed O'Neill steals every scene he's in.
Yeah,
Um,
this movie actually reminded me a lot of Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. Yeah, it's a
which is
road trip movie. You really can connect with Ed O'Neill's character. He's just trying to do a good service to his girlfriend, bring her son home for Thanksgiving, which I really connected with John Candy's character in that movie. So, uh,
it gave me that, and it also gave me Uncle Buck, which is also another John Hughes film. So, because like John Hughes has a way of creating characters, and some of the situations is repetitive in some of his stuff. But the thing about John Hughes is he's like Spielberg. He was like God rest his soul. He was like Spielberg in a sense of uh like you felt a certain way watching his stuff.
yeah,
You really enjoy like his later stuff wasn't as good, like Baby's Day Out or whatever. Didn't really care for that, but when John was on top, like his stuff was like so quotable, so rewatchable. Uh, this is probably the least rewatchable John Hughes, and I'm gonna call it a John Hughes movie. I know there's somebody else's record, but it's John Hughes. It's the most least rewatchable John Hughes movie that I've seen, but it still was enjoyable. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. Like it's an enjoyable movie. it just I think it was too similar to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, though.
Yeah,
That
I agree.
that just with it's with a kid and an adult instead of two strangers, but it plays this it plays out similar. They lose their car. It they it just it's chaotic.
The
You know,
fireworks thing. Isn't there a scene in one of his movies where a car catches on fire, like a burning or something? Like,
well, it's in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's the same. A lot of the same tropes
Yeah,
that happens. In this one, they go to a homeless shelter, and all this stuff is they always trying to make it to Chicago,
Chicago.
or,
Yeah,
or Illinois,
maybe
somewhere
it's
in
a
Illinois.
shared universe there. you know, because I remember they said in Home Alone he was supposed to have been the character from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I don't know if that's true, but that
Oh,
was the
really?
rumor. Yeah,
The Polka King, Polka
yeah.
Polka. Um,
But it
my
would
dude.
make. I mean, but it's always in Chicago. I even think Breakfast Club was in Chicago.
Is in Chicago or is in Illinois. Ferris Bueller's Day Off was in Illinois. Uh,
Maybe that's where he grew up. It was
yeah,
Illinois.
all his all his stuff is in uh, fictitious Sherman, Illinois, the Sherwood, Illinois. Like I don't know, it's like, but it's Illinois. I think it's where he's from. He's from the Midwest. Um, but he's never been to Chicago. But I will say that the least the character that I felt the worst for was Joe Beth Williams' character, Natalie. She was simply just a mother who's just been divorced, trying to reach out and love her son, but
Yeah,
her son looks at her as a villain because the dad is no longer there, but it's because the dad really doesn't want to be there. But the dad isn't coming out saying I don't want to be there. The dad is playing it off as, well, it's your mother's fault. I'm not here.
yeah,
Uh, but man, she did a great job. Uh, I hadn't seen her in a lot of stuff. I literally can only think of Poltergeist. Um,
yeah. I
I
mean,
can
she had
say that.
this similar look to Sigourney Weaver, as you mentioned. You thought that was her. They really had similar looks. Of course, Sigourney was more popular, but yeah, I felt bad for her because she is just a mom that just wants to spend time with her son and wants to have that connection with her son, and the son's fighting it, because he thinks his dad is in the right, and and also the dad's not really doing anything. He's giving him the bare minimum, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just sad. And when you got a kid involved, it's just sad that you give the kid the bare minimum. But
Another Thanksgiving movie I just thought about randomly. Son-in-Law. It's literally a Thanksgiving movie.
yeah, it is technically, isn't it? Yeah, I forgot about that.
I think
So
we've also reviewed that before.
we did.
Uh, but yeah. Um, so with Ed's character, like he's like a blue collar guy, kind of rough around the edges, but he loves his woman. And he's a very likable individual. Like the everybody that he comes in contact with, for the most part, seems to really like him. He seems like he's a very honest guy. He told that one trucker, he said, "Hey man, uh, call me on Monday. If this doesn't fix the repairs, give me a call and I'll take care of the rest of it." You know,
Yeah,
which you know, it just only, he did that. Also, it seems like the guy that gave him a ride back to Chicago, he said, "Hey, call the office on Monday, and like I'm gonna get you a job." It's what it
yeah,
sounds like, and you know, he even mentioned like when the kid caused the accident, he says you could have killed someone. And he said, all this guy was trying to do is make it home to his family, and and what right do you got to interfere with that? Like essentially, like telling them like you got to think about things outside of yourself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and which I thought that was really great conversation. I love how he tries to break him down in the sense of like humble him to be like, look, stop these antics isn't the way to go. You need somebody to kind of just bring you to reality, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not in a mean way, but just in a loving way, just like because the kid has been in a cocoon essentially his whole life. So
Yeah. But one thing I also liked about Dutch, his character, is he had a big heart. You know, and that was clear throughout this whole film. That man, he's really got a big heart, and because he takes this kid's crap throughout the movie, but he also covers for him, as you just said. You know, it just it showed that he really loved his mom. You know, this kid's mom. He really had love for her, genuine love, and it just that aspect warmed my heart, and I think that's why I really appreciated the movie more this time around because I missed all that. I missed the storytelling they were doing with his
yeah,
character the first time I watched, and this time I was really letting it sink in. It was hitting me in the heart. So I appreciate not only the character, but I appreciate Ed O'Neill's acting in this movie.
yeah. I also wanted to mention that he like the way that he the moment he thought the kid was killed and the like you see
Yeah,
his everything synced in him and he was like scared to like when he seen it when he the release and stuff when he seen that he was alive he's okay but also you know you could see that also and this is a credit to Ethan Embry's acting too in that moment it looks like he was also he wouldn't come out and say he's sorry but he was sorry for what
yeah.
he did you know he knew that he took it too far um, and you know that's a credit to John Hughes writing and
Oh, yeah.
and I don't know if it's that or you just give prop. We gotta give both props to his writing and their ability to act and to you know
Yeah,
put
I'm
that out.
gonna like I don't like the kid Doyle, but
Mhm.
once you understand what he's really going through, you really click with that. But I will say this is Ethan. To me, this is Ethan's best performance of his career, and I hate to say that because he's just a kid, but the channeling all the emotions he's going through, I just think it's tremendous. He was able to do that at such a young age.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And he also and also you know, Ed O'Neill just allowed things to happen with the kid,
Yeah,
like the kid getting robbed on the bus. He just you know he just allowed it to happen. He's like,
yeah. He
hey,
was, yeah, as you said, he was trying to humble him, but the most humbling aspect of the movie was kicking him out of the car
yeah.
and actually driving off. But he would go when once he got to the hotel, he would check the window to see if he was coming. I just
Mhm.
couldn't believe he actually left him out there. But it's old school humbling. you know,
And that's
I,
what, and it goes back to the, like, because the kid was talking so much stuff, I can do this and I can do this. He says, there's one thing I can do that you can't. And he says, what? He says, I can pay
yeah,
for my breakfast. And then, like, hard cut, him, like, sitting there, like, kind of belching. He's like, nothing, nothing burps like bacon. He's like, I tell you, it's good, man. That
now we
water you
come
had,
now we come full circle. We
yeah,
started
that
this
water,
episode with bacon.
there you go. He said, that water you had looks very good, though. Look very delicious. But he's just like kids need. It remind me when I was a kid, uh, spending the night with my grandmother. She would make like chicken livers, not chicken livers, but beef liver with like
Hmm.
onions and gravy and stuff like that and mashed potatoes. But I didn't want it because I just turned my nose to it. I'm like, I don't want that, you know. And but I was hungry. I spent the night with her once, and I was hungry. And she's like, "Well, only thing we have in there for you to eat is that. If you don't eat that, then you don't eat it all." And finally, I was like, begrudgingly, I ate it, and I ended up liking it. But but it's just like the idea that uh, sometimes people gotta humble you and take you down a peg to show you be thankful for what you have,
Yeah,
what people provide for you. Like because he didn't have to go across. He could have been left on campus by himself.
yeah, he could have. And when this movie first started with Evan Doyle or Dutch and Doyle, he probably wished he had
Hmm.
never volunteered to go pick him up. But I do love the relationship, the bonding. As you see them grow closer and closer as the film goes and goes. That is really good storytelling right there, because a lot of times we don't really see that. It just kind of happens. And we're just made to believe they really bonded. But in this film, you really see the bonding happening.
Yeah,
And I think that they did a really good job there.
and I like when he owed him. I owe you a shot with the gun, with
Yeah.
the pellet gun. Uh, he just like I love that full circle moment too. Um, I do think that the bonding in this movie seem more authentic than like you said. And, like some movies, they just automatically they start liking each other, but there's no real good reason for them to like each other.
Yeah,
Um,
I just felt like Doyle by the end of the movie, well, even by the middle, he was starting to respect him
mhm,
because he knew he wasn't going to take his crap.
yeah,
And I felt there was true respect there by the end.
yeah. Um, well, I guess anything else you want to mention about it before we give our marks?
Well, I do love the ending where Christopher McDonald comes back because he knows he screwed up because Doyle actually called him and he's supposed to be in London and he's in his hotel or something with another woman.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, so he comes in, think he's going to save the day. Um, but no, his son knows what he's been up to and giving him the bare minimum. And he knows his mom's really the one that's been trying. And, he doesn't want anything to do with him.
Hmm.
And I just love, well, if you stay, you're staying for good, you know. And it's like, I'm staying, and he leaves, and it's
And
like,
then
I'll be right back.
before he left out, he says, "I want you out by Monday."
Yeah,
Something like that. So essentially he's saying, "I'm kicking you out of this house, and I want you out by Monday." And Ed is like, "All right," and he already talked about the ring,
yeah, yeah.
and he adjusts the ring, you know, and he goes to have a little conversation with him. He's like, "Hey, so what were you saying about you want him out by when?" He's like, "Yeah, you heard what he's grabbing his tie, just slow, like gently grab his tie, and then next thing you know, pow." Did you just hear him once? You just hear him once, didn't
He's like, he said 6 months. Yeah, he said 6 months. Yeah, 6 months sounds good. But
you?
yeah, and he was slipping and falling. I forget what he actually said, like in the first act about the ring when he hit somebody.
Yeah, he said
But
he's the last person that did something to me. I left an imprint of my ring on his forehead. Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that was it. It's just the way he said it, though. But yeah, it was good to see Christopher McDonald get what was coming to him. It's always good to see him get what's coming to him.
and then he kind of leaned into his physical comedy because he's so funny. Like it's so he naturally like that ditzy like it's like I'm shook type of
Yeah,
thing. He's so good at it. He's like, oh man, it kind of made me immediately want to watch Happy Gilmore.
I
But
said that as soon as he popped in. I want to watch Happy Gilmore. As soon as he popped up, I was like, I wanted to watch Happy Gilmore. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I had more fun with this movie than I thought I would,
Mhm.
and like I originally thought, well, I'm gonna give this about a 2.
I'm ready to hear you score.
My score, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, I had fun with it. It's something I would actually watch again.
I'd agree with you. I give it that type of score as well. I think John Hughes, uh, like he had a way of, and I'm not saying that the director Peter Feynman didn't do anything. He held the camera, but John Hughes, um, he did a great job with making these people believable. He
Yeah.
casted he casted Ed O'Neill, who was believably kind of that guy on Married with Children already. It's kind of like kind of Al Bundy is. He's like that. Yeah, I don't like. It'd be like, yeah, I don't think we have shoes that fit your hoofs.
Yeah.
It's like he's the type of guy that he'd be like. But yeah, I thought it was great, man. I thought it was fun. Um, enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, what's next week, Brandon? I don't know.
I was gonna ask you.
I am gonna start the Christmas though. It's technically still gonna be November, but I'm gonna start Christmas. I thought about Krampus, but I don't remember if we reviewed it or not. Um,
Kind of feel like we did Krampus before.
I want to say we did. So if not, I'll pick something else. But I don't know. Maybe I want to go non-traditional though for my first one. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go traditional Christmas. So maybe a violent. What was it? Violent Night. Is that what it's called?
So
The one
yeah,
with Hopper. I can't think of his name. But he played Santa. It was an action movie. John Leguizamo was the villain.
yeah.
It's on something. I
Violent
saw it.
Night. Yeah.
I may go that one. I'll let you know.
So,
I'll look at the Christmas stuff and see what's out there. But
well, Christmas season is upon us, so we gotta start doing the Christmas movies. I might, if I'm gonna be honest, I may or may not revisit Die Hard
you may or may not.
for us. 'Cause I would love to get your take on it again. When last time you watched Die Hard?
Last time I seen Die Hard, I don't recall. It's been multiple years since I seen Die Hard. It's been a
Okay.
long time. It's been a while. I would say at
All
least
right.
5 years
Well,
since I
there we go.
revisited Die Hard.
Oh, well, that's on Tubi. So there you go. All right. Well, what we want the people to do, Brandon?
If you like this episode and you want to see more, click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook. Comment, share, do whatever you gotta do to keep your eyes on us and get more eyes on us. We're all about
Yep.
more eyes, apparently.
We like eyes, unless they're wide shut. All right. Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey.
Thank you for marking out us on the Mark Out Movie Podcast. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a safe Black Friday if you do that. And don't be an idiot.
That's always a plus to say at the end. Don't be an
Yep.
idiot.
That's